together, that's me, that's all of you out there, we can really, really help raise the profile of payroll for future generations.
Welcome to the Payroll Podcast with your host, Nick Day. Find out what it takes to truly discover what it takes to elevate your career within payroll as we meet with the industry leaders who are shaping the industry for tomorrow.
Hello and welcome back to the Payroll Podcast. I cannot believe it, but I am welcoming you today to the 100th episode of the show. Wow, have we featured some amazing subjects, some amazing guests during the course of the show's run so far. Too many to mention, if I'm honest, because we've had 99 guests on the show, featuring topics ranging from payroll tax compliance and employee benefits through to the use of technology, automation, blockchain technology, education, celebrating the industry, and a whole lot more. Hopefully you've all been enjoying the show. I hope very much that it's supported you in your own payroll journeys, whether that's considering new payroll systems, getting to grips with the latest legislation, helping you to advance your careers in payroll, or just giving yourself a pat on the back for the hard work that I know all of you that work in the payroll industry have been putting in, day out, which was absolutely shown for everyone to see during, of course, the pandemic, where the payroll industry continued to work diligently, stayed resilient to keep the world paid. Now, we've focused on and I guess brought to you a number of notable changes and developments that have occurred in the payroll space since I started this show. We've had a global pandemic. Well, where do we even start with that? Payroll officially considered a key working status for those that supported people to be paid during the most critical of times. We've had IR35, which was brought in, scrapped, and then brought in all over again. And let's be honest, since I launched this show, we have had 4 prime ministers and 6 chancellors, all of which, of course, have a huge influence on the world of payroll, both for today and, of course, the world of payroll tomorrow. We've seen the introduction of automation and artificial intelligence and machine learning really infiltrate the payroll process. And most importantly, from my perspective, someone who has worked in this industry for over 2 decades, it's been a really, really exciting journey for me to see payroll move from its back office transactional mode into one now that I think is absolutely starting to grow into that function of strategic importance that really is having an impact at board level. Payroll now absolutely can contribute to the organizational objectives of the C-suite. When I say C-suite, for those that aren't familiar, we're talking about CEOs, COOs, CFOs, and more. I also want to take this opportunity today to thank everyone who has taken the time to listen to all of the shows, one of the shows, even if it's just a portion of one of my shows. Your continued support has really been the motivation that's kept me bringing you new episodes as frequently as I possibly can when time allows. And I hope you have all learned something from the shows that I've been bringing to you as well. And I hope you continue to learn and continue to grow in your own careers as payroll professionals. But I also hope for those that may have come across this podcast in whatever search you may have been undertaking in the world of Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts, whatever it might be, that maybe you listened to a portion of it and just thought, that guest is really inspiring. Maybe I could embark on a career in payroll. Maybe payroll is a career opportunity that actually I could really excel in. It's something we need to focus on more as we go forward. We need to encourage more people to come into what I believe is an incredibly exciting profession. And I will go into more of my thoughts on that a little bit later on in the show. Let me give you some stats though, because some of these you might find surprising. Since we launched the show, did you know that 57% of my audience is in the UK, but actually 43% of my audience is based in Europe and the US. It truly is a global show. We've had over 123 episodes published. We've experienced over 80,000 episode downloads. In fact, we average over 2,000 listens a month, which also tells me that many people listen to shows more than once. And I hope that's because there's some really useful information that maybe you go back to or get reminded about when it becomes important. Of course, not every episode is going to be relevant for everybody. We featured episodes, for example, on Canadian payroll. That may not be relevant for you, but if you process Canadian payroll, I'm sure you'll be one of those people that did indeed download that episode. Maybe you're interested in celebrating the world of payroll in the UK. Well, we've had a couple of episodes now really featuring National Payroll Week, and I hope that was something that really brought the passion to you if you're working in payroll and helps you to celebrate National Payroll Week a little bit more excitedly than perhaps you may have done without that episode being released. But most importantly, I hope the episodes have really given you additional insight, have helped raise awareness for what is an absolutely fantastic industry, something that I've always been embedded in since I left university many years ago. It's something that's, I guess I feel very much part of. Now, I'm not a payroll processor. I never have been, but I've always been immersed in the world of payroll. I've seen it change significantly, never more so than when the COVID pandemic hit the world, because that really did accelerate change, particularly in perspective towards payroll. Payroll professionals were rightly praised, as we know they worked tirelessly to keep the UK paid. In fact, over 11.7 million employee jobs were put through the furlough scheme in the UK alone at the cost of 70 billion. We saw world leaders finally come to the fore, such as the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who publicly thanked the efforts of payroll practitioners. When have you ever seen that happen before? I think he said, for playing your part in what has been an extraordinary effort. Well, what can you say? Absolutely true. As a result, we've seen payroll thrust into the limelight, and with it, we've seen an explosion of new payroll career pathways as well open up to new people coming into the industry. Of course, it's not just the pandemic that's accelerated that. We've seen accelerations in the world of technology, which continue to open up new payroll opportunities for those ambitious enough, brave enough, and excited enough to pursue them. And I will talk about some of those a little bit later on in the show as well. And let's be honest, we're now in the year 2023, and payroll has become more strategic than ever before. The role of payroll in business is often thought of as a necessary but mundane task. Certainly was when I first came into this industry in 2002. It wasn't seen then as having any real strategic value. But as we see the business world become increasingly complex and competitive, actually the role of payroll has become more vital than ever before. And payroll in particular is certainly becoming more strategic than ever before alongside it. And that's for several reasons. For example, we know that automation and technology is absolutely changing the way that payroll is done. Now, it might seem that some of these advancements are going to replace the need for payroll professionals, and perhaps that's true for those working in the data-driven world of payroll, in the sense that the mundane task, the repetitive task, we're seeing automation having a huge impact there. But history also tells us that technology tends to create more jobs than it replaces, and that's certainly something we're seeing from a recruitment side of things really start to come to the fore in the world of payroll, particularly in the world of analytics, looking at trends and data, and of course, delivering insights that can influence board level decisions. And that's the really exciting piece for me. We've also seen, of course, the lines between payroll and other business functions start to blur, particularly in relation to HR, finance, and reward. And many people now starting to put polls out on LinkedIn and ask the question, should payroll potentially now stand on its own 2 feet without reporting into any other function? Well, watch this space. I certainly think that's going to be true for some. Whether it makes it as a wholesale change, well, let's see what the future holds. But what we do know is that the modern workforce, particularly post-pandemic, has become more and more demanding. We've seen the great resignation in the world of recruitment, or as I like to call it, for those that listen to this show regularly, you already know, the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening, we call it, because it's a moment when employees started to sit back and make different choices. Do they want to stay with this employer? Does this employer really look after my well-being in the way that I want it to be managed? Do I have the flexibility that I seek to keep my work-life balance? Can I get better pay and remuneration and benefits elsewhere? Well, we started to see a lot of people find out. They left their positions and they found new ones. And we saw a huge change in the world of recruitment in particular, but in the sense that people were changing jobs, changing the way that they manage their lives. And that's caused a number of challenges for the payroll industry as well. Certainly, there's been a shortage for real payroll talent. And that's something, obviously, that I'm very much involved in finding for the clients that I work with. But also, it's come up with a process, I guess, where I think it's become quite exciting for payroll professionals because it's really thrust the employee experience into the limelight. And that's where payroll can have a real influence in the sense that through payroll, you can see trends, you can help support organizational objectives. You can also really improve the employee experience. That we can do that through the benefits you offer, but also through the systems of pay. Things like pay on demand and interactive or smart pay slips. Processes that allow payroll professionals to stay up to date with the latest trends and demands of what is now a very modern workforce situation, because that's what employees are demanding. Smarter interactive pay slips, for example, well, they could and potentially already do make the payroll process more efficient and accurate, but they also give workers access to better information and resources because they connect employees with their employment information, their financial resources, things like benefits, pay history, holidays taken, pension contributions. Potentially, they provide a true holistic overview of their finances in one place. And that helps them track their pay history, plans for retirement, helps them understand their benefits in real time, which of course empowers employees to make much more informed decisions about their finances. With tax information and descriptions also potentially available, it's going to reduce the number of payroll inquiries coming into payroll teams because people can click on the links and find out exactly why certain deductions have been made. This doesn't only improve the employee experience, but potentially it also improves the value of the employee data that payroll departments are recording and getting access to as well. And data management, it plays a central role, in my opinion, in the future strategic advancement of the payroll profession. I also think if we talk about data, that analytics can really help drive strategic decision making. That means that payroll professionals can analyze payroll data and turn that data into actionable insights that can inform major, and I mean major, board level decisions. And I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later on. So do stay tuned. If you're interested today in finding out exactly why payroll is becoming more strategic and how you can use that data to make your own role more strategic, I am going to go into my opinions on this a little bit later on in the show. So stay tuned. I also want to summarize, I guess, some of the things that I've seen in the industry since I launched this show, and certainly since I've been in the world of payroll. I've seen skills evolve. I've seen the future of payroll being something that isn't just managing a process, it's now managing people, and the soft skills of leadership are more important now than perhaps they've ever been, but also the skills in managing machines alongside it. The future payroll manager, or even the current payroll manager now, is required to manage intricate, complex payroll systems. People that probably are demanding more than they've ever demanded before in this new world of awakening. And also a process which is ever changing, ever challenging, always complex in terms of the legislation and compliance that demands it. And it's not just within your own country anymore. We're seeing wider cross-border payments, more multi-global payroll operations taking shape than ever before. And we're seeing a rise in the gig economy in the way that people get paid. It is only increasing in layers and layers of complexity. And that's another reason why I think payroll now is more strategic than it's ever been before. The increasing use of technology and automation has definitely led to a shift in the responsibilities of payroll professionals, because that can allow you then to focus on more strategic tasks like data analysis and like decision making that can impact the employee experience. Now, if we can leverage that data, if we can start to provide those valuable insights, and I love insights, I'm training to be an executive coach here, which is all about raising awareness, all about creating insights in people. What we do know is insight leads to action. And if payroll can start delivering insights, then companies can start taking action, which can allow them to be more successful and more competitive. If payroll people can understand the changing landscape in the world of business, if they can invest in themselves and qualifications and upskilling for the future world of payroll, then I absolutely think payroll professionals can position themselves as extremely valuable assets within their organizations, as people that can absolutely advance their careers well beyond the original ceiling of payroll manager into new realms of payroll directorship level positions, business owners, strategic decision makers. But also, I just think it's quite exciting because payroll professionals can absolutely help their organizations succeed and stay ahead of what is a very, very competitive business landscape at the moment. And that actually leaks into my world of recruitment because payroll now has a fundamental role to play, not just in the retention of employees by delivering a fantastic, transparent, equitable pay service, but also in the attraction of new people into that business by just delivering a level of service that is way above what competitors can offer. And that's exciting. I just think it's a really, really exciting time to be in the world of payroll right now. And I'm really excited to be bringing you new episodes of the Payroll Podcast. We've got several already recorded, ready to be released, that are going to continue to drive the industry forward, continue to give you the insights you need to hopefully become a better, more purposeful, more knowledgeable payroll professional that can really, really drive strategic change within your business and have a real impact on your business. Now, I've mentioned about a couple of factors already that I think are going to contribute and have already contributed to the rising profile of payroll, certainly in the UK, but further afield as well to our global audience. But here are a couple of the other contributing factors that some of my guests have brought to life on the payroll show to date. One of those, of course, is the continued growth of automation and technology. Now, many of the episodes I've released to date have explored and discussed how advancements in software, artificial intelligence, and machine learning are making it easier for payroll professionals to handle complex tasks and processes. No doubt we're going to see even more automation infiltrate the payroll process, which is going to continue to lead to more efficient and accurate payroll administration processes, which is going to give you even more time as payroll professionals to focus on strategic tasks and initiatives. We've had a lot of episodes, including one very recently on the shift to remote working. I focused on and had a chat with the CEO of remote.com, where we discussed particularly the impact of the pandemic and the need to minimize physical contact, which has accelerated the adoption of technology and automation as well. It includes the use of cloud-based payroll software, mobile apps, other digital tools, payroll APIs, things that ultimately allow you to manage payroll remotely. It's not just the workforces that are becoming remote. Well, the pandemic proved that payroll can operate remotely as well. And who ever thought that was possible? Can you imagine, as a payroll professional, asking an HR manager, can I work from home? Can I process my payroll from home before the pandemic? I mean, you'd have been laughed out of the room. Payroll couldn't work remotely. That's the one function that surely can't operate from a remote location. And yet, as the pandemic proved, not only could it operate successfully remotely, it operated and exceeded expectations of every other stakeholder that ever doubted it before. And of course, things like automation help payroll professionals to handle those repetitive tasks and compliance and tax filing and things like that much more seamlessly. What a new world we're in right now. What an exciting world it is too. Another notable change that we've discussed on the shows has been the importance, of course, of compliance and data security on payroll. In fact, we even featured a guest who broke into, if you haven't read it, listen to it, please do go back. But we featured a guest who actually hacked into the White House and into the Russian embassy. And he really does give us some interesting insights into the world of data breaches and cyber attacks. And I think that's something in the future payroll professionals really, really do need to be more vigilant about, to ensure that compliance with data protection laws is adhered to, of course, but also that you've got a secure operation that's robust against such cyber attacks and ransomware attacks that we're seeing absolutely increase in the world of payroll. We need to now be more vigilant than ever in ensuring that we have measures in place to protect the sensitive employee and company information that we hold. Data in one arm is absolutely the key to unlocking our strategic value, but in the other, it could also be the key that unlocks a world of pain if we're not secure about it. So do have and invest in strong security protocols to protect your data. because I think we're only going to see an increase in security breaches in the future. I hope some of the episodes that we've featured as well have increased your focus and awareness on employee well-being, because let's be honest, it's led to an increase in benefits that the payroll professionals often have to administer as well now. We're seeing payroll professionals need to understand different types of benefits. We have many questions on the Payroll Question Time show that I host, which is all about salary sacrifice and the kind of benefits and complexities of process associated with salary sacrificing benefits. But also there's other schemes alongside that as well. And payroll professionals now often have to manage the administration of benefits to ensure that employees are enrolled correctly, but also are happy that they have a transparent process, that they can access the benefits they've been allocated to, that are keeping them or even attracted them to that business in the first place. It has a broader impact as well, of course, therefore, on retention and attraction. And I think the pandemic, which did lead to widespread job losses and economic uncertainty, has made it even more important than ever that businesses start to engage in new benefit offerings, in investing in employee wellness, and are providing more and more than just pay as part of the overall remuneration. And that's absolutely going to have an impact on the roles of payroll professionals in the UK and beyond. What we do know is because it's changing so fast, payroll professionals need to stay informed about these latest trends and developments in the industry. And that is what the Payroll Podcast has always been about. We're not just talking about new technologies. We also feature new laws, new regulations, complexities, potential technologies that may or may not come into the marketplace in the future. We talk about the challenges you're facing day to day, from things like leadership all the way through to cloud payroll technology, how we can journey to the top of the profession, whether robots will take over. There are many, many shows that I've released today in that 99 that have already been released. They're as relevant today as they were when they were first released. So if you haven't gone back, go back, pick out the episodes you think may resonate with you and give them a listen. I would love to know what you think. Now, something else we need to have a talk about as well is the increased focus on data analysis and reporting. We know businesses have been forced to navigate the economic challenges caused by the pandemic and beyond. And to do that, they've had to turn to data analysis to better understand their operations and to make more informed decisions about their employees. And that is and has led to an increased demand for payroll professionals with strong data analysis skills. And if you haven't got those, this is an area you could definitely invest in yourself to really get to grips with what this means for the future, because there is only going to be an increased focus on how we leverage data better in the future to support that strategic decision making that is now so critical in the world of work, in the world of business, where data has an impact. Data now is, well, it's the currency of the future. It's the currency of businesses that are allowing them to get a real competitive edge over competitors. And payroll has a huge part to play here because you have access to more data than almost any other function in the business. So if you're able to leverage that, if you're able to invest in your own skills, in improving your ability to analyze data, I do think it may just give you that critical head start in the future when the newer roles that come into the world of work and the world of payroll start to demand them. We also know the global economy is having a massive impact on the evolution of payroll. We're seeing globalization and the rise of the global economy, which is leading to more companies operating in multiple countries now. It's quite possible many of you listening to this today perhaps only had a UK payroll before the pandemic, and now you're finding yourself operating across multiple regions, multiple countries. And with that, there's a corresponding increase in the complexity of your own payroll operation. We're going to see more companies turning to global payroll providers and different global payroll solutions, different global payroll tech. We got to make sure that we can manage all of this complexity. Payroll is not getting simpler despite automation infiltrating the process. It's only getting more complex because with these tools, with these technological advancements, it allows payroll professionals to pay more people across more regions. It allows companies to employ people in regions they'd never previously considered. And that is always going to have an impact on the payroll process. Wow, lots to get through. Lots we've already gone through. I think we can all be honest that the payroll landscape has undergone some significant changes since the turn of the century. And it's not going to change because companies are desperate to increase their ability to be efficient. They're desperate to lower their costs. They're desperate to improve the accuracy of their data because in improved accuracy, they can analyze more trends. And this is, again, very relevant in the world of payroll processing. The global economy, the growing number of companies operating in multiple countries, it's only leading to further complexity in the world of global payroll. So what else is really challenging the world of payroll at the moment? Before we start looking at the future, what are some of the challenges that I'm hearing in the world of payroll at the moment? Well, we haven't really touched yet on the gig economy. The rise, a little bit of remote working we've talked about, and flexible working now that we're seeing a lot of employees post-pandemic demanding and getting access to flexible working. But actually the gig economy is also having a big impact, particularly on global payrolls. Payroll policies need to be adapted. Systems need to accommodate remote, flexible and gig workers. So we're seeing an increased focus on technologies that can support that type of processing. We're seeing mobile apps. We're seeing digital wallets. It's clear the rise of gigs and side businesses with multiple income streams is going to introduce new challenges for employees and for payroll professionals. So people are going to need to understand in the future the complexities associated with managing and paying employees who perhaps don't have a traditional one-to-one relationship with the company. The world of work, and we see it as recruiters, is changing every single day. And the rise of the gig economy is showing no signs of slowing down. So it does mean that payroll professionals need to ensure that they're compliant with various regulations, they're able to track multiple income streams, that they can provide, of course, the most important thing in the world of payroll, which is accurate and timely payments. And this shift towards multiple income streams is putting the employee right at the center of payroll, which brings new challenges, but exciting ones for payroll professionals. Because actually, that really does mean there's a huge emerging trend in improving and increasing the focus from payroll departments in particular on the employee experience. Companies recognize that if they're able to give a positive and seamless payroll experience to their employees, then it will have a knock-on impact on their ability to retain and attract people into their companies. I can tell you firsthand, recruiting new employees is not a cheap exercise. It's expensive because finding top talent is difficult and challenging. So we're going to see payroll departments, and we're already seeing it, offer more and more services to their employees. Things like self-service options, online portals, the ability to see payroll or process payroll through mobile apps. We're seeing chatbots infiltrate the process. We're seeing people able to access their payroll information and make changes to their personal details at any time. We're seeing on-demand pay really grow in popularity as more and more companies offer that kind of solution. And we're seeing companies invest and bring new tools and technologies into the marketplace that look to help improve communication and employee experience. And it's all centered around payroll. Employees now are right at the center of the payroll operation. It does mean that payroll needs to be more transparent, but also by putting employees at the center of the payroll process, it only increases the profile of payroll as an operation. And I think that's really exciting. We know that the workforce demographic is we have an aging population. Baby boomers continue to retire. Companies therefore face a shortage of skilled and experienced workers. And this is leading to an increase in competition for talent. So again, that employee experience is absolutely important. We want to make sure we retain that top talent. We want to make sure that we can attract the best of the rest that aren't in our businesses yet, that give us that competitive edge over the people that are working for our competitors. And payroll professionals need to adapt because it's through payroll that they can really offer the flexible benefit options, the transparency, the service, the experience, the on-demand pay potentially that really help bring and keep the really, the people that drive businesses forward employed with those businesses. It's critical. It's absolutely critical. And we also know that millennials and Gen Z workers are seeking, and younger workers, they're seeking different things. They're seeking that flexibility. They want to be able to work from remote locations. They want flexibility. They want work-life balance. So we need to make sure within the world of payroll that we have the solutions that can support those demands. We've also seen mental health really rise in prominence, and rightly so. People now taking a much more proactive approach to mental health in the workplace. Well, if we get payroll wrong, if people are paid incorrectly, that's a threat to people's livelihoods. That has a knock-on impact on people's mental health. So again, it puts the employee right at the center of the payroll experience at the moment. And I think that is critical to the future of the payroll industry. I think it's clear that payroll is no longer just a back office function. It's become more strategic in nature. The profession is continuing to evolve, in fact, at a rapid pace. It's more data-driven and technology-focused than I've ever seen it before. And as a result, payroll professionals are also gaining expertise that they never had before, expertise in data analysis, automation, and compliance, which means they're very, very well positioned to advise on strategic decision-making tasks that maybe, just maybe, will give them a seat in the boardroom in the future. Certainly, we're seeing more payroll directors now than we've ever seen before. We've seen previous guests on my show like Maria Mason, I'll call you out here, Maria, who's now become a partner at a major top 5 accounting firm. We never used to see payroll professionals at partner level. This is a really, really exciting development. And why? Because payroll people can deliver valuable insights. They can harbor technology. They have to be experts in the world of compliance, and they can help organizations to spot trends to make better decisions, making payroll absolutely an important strategic business driver for the key stakeholders that want to improve the bottom line, that want to improve the employee experience. And this has been supported. There was an annual HR systems survey, key findings, which was released by Stacey Harris, that showed that over 50% of payroll applications now are in danger of flipping in the next 12 to 24 months. Now, what that tells me is there are gaps in current functionality and customization and configuration of these systems. And that's because the complexities associated with the modern payroll cycle, especially those operating in multi-country payroll spaces, is more complex than it's ever been before. So solutions and tools need to change to accommodate for the rapidly changing world of work. If you implemented the system 12, 24 months ago, I will not be surprised if you're implementing new tools or a new system altogether in the next 12 to 24 months to accommodate this ever-changing space. What an exciting space it is. Let me quickly run through some of the summaries for those that may be familiar of the episodes that we've released today. And of course, there are 99, so I won't go through all of them. But we released episodes on automation not meaning the end for payroll, which really discussed the increasing use of automation in payroll. We know it's got the potential to streamline processes and improve efficiency, but many are concerned it can lead to job losses. Check out the episode, because from my perspective, I think it's a great opportunity for opening up the world of payroll so it can become more strategic. We had an episode very recently which discussed the future of remote global payroll. Well, we know more and more companies are adopting to remote work policies. That's going to give the payroll industry new challenges. It's a great episode if you want to get up to speed on how that may impact the world of payroll. We had the global payroll hyperloop, a new phrase that I'd never heard of before, with Ranga Seshadri, where he talked about the advancements in global payroll technology and how there are more efficient ways now of handling global payroll than we've ever known before, which he terms as the global payroll hyperloop. If you suddenly find yourself managing global payrolls, that is an episode you need to listen to. We had an episode talking about payroll infrastructure and data and how that's changing the profile of payroll. Again, if you want to know more about strategic analysis, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and how those things are changing the way payroll is done, that is an episode you need to listen to. There are other episodes on the future of global payroll, how to build modern day payroll resilience, and even how fintech is disrupting payroll with Anita Lettink, who I think is an absolute fantastic advisor out there at the moment in the world of payroll, particularly for the future of payroll. If you haven't accessed her newsletter, I'm going to put a link in the show notes today so you can. She is really leading the way in understanding, well, helping others understand really how fintech is changing the way that companies handle payroll. Fascinating newsletter. And Anita, who actually released her first book on the world of payroll this year, I was very fortunate to be asked to write a foreword in that book for her, but it's a fantastic guide. If you haven't accessed that, I will also put a link in the show notes, and I highly recommend you purchase yourselves a copy. We've had episodes on how we can automate payroll, how effective data gathering can be used within payroll for diversity, equity, and inclusion purposes. Again, just highlighting there how important it is to have employees at the center of the payroll operation. Never before have I seen payroll professionals need to consider issues such as diversity, equity, and inclusion, but actually the accuracy of payroll data that you're collecting and the way that you can use that data to provide actionable insights that can actually improve DE&I policies and processes is unbelievable. And I'm so excited to see that people are making the connection now between how payroll data can be used to really improve diversity, equity, and inclusion, something that I'm very, very passionate about. And for those that listen to my other podcast, the HR L&D podcast, you'll know all about that. Many episodes there feature topics that I talk about in the world of DE&I, but certainly it's now connected to the world of payroll. I think that's really, really exciting. We've had episodes on next-gen payments to modernize global payroll. What is at the center of payroll innovation? That was with Brian Sparling, who I've known for many, many years, who now working at Ceridian gave us some great and interesting insights into new technologies and trends, in particular in relation to AI and machine learning and of course the pay-on-demand solutions. I think that Ceridian offer in particular, but as do many other solution providers now. So well worth a listen. And we actually have released an episode as well on AI and machine learning and how that may influence the future of payroll. So if AI and machine learning are words that you're just not familiar with and you've been working in payroll for a long time, don't worry. Go and listen to that episode and you will have a much better understanding of how sophisticated analytics and reporting tools through the utilization of AI and machine learning are really impacting the world of payroll for the future. God, so many to go through. It's hard, but we've had episodes on improving financial health through payroll. We've talked about mental health already, but financial health in particular through financial wellness tools and resources, and how payroll can really help employees to better manage their finances to improve their overall financial health. Wow, what an impact payroll is now having on employees. It's so exciting. We've had episodes on the employee payroll experience, which sort of touches upon some of those issues in more detail. We've had episodes on how to run successful payroll projects and transformations. Charlotte Yardley in particular giving us some brilliant insights on how to execute the perfect payroll project or payroll transformation project that aligns with your business goals. So if you are going through any major projects at the moment, that is certainly an episode I recommend that you listen to. We've had more episodes on payroll cloud technology, payroll leaderships and apprenticeships, which I thought was really exciting, which was with Mark Bremner, CEO of MBKB, where they are offering apprenticeship schemes now, encouraging new people into the profession. God, so exciting, so exciting. We've had what makes an exceptional payroll leader. So maybe you've been in payroll all your career and you've just found yourself thrust into a new leadership role. That is an episode I highly recommend. In fact, I wouldn't just recommend the episode, I would very, very highly recommend his book as well. I have it on my bookshelf. He is fantastic. For those that came to our payroll event last year, you would have got a free copy of that book, but it's called The Only Leaders Worth Following. It's by Tim Spiker, and obviously there's a link to that book in that episode, What Makes an Exceptional Payroll Leader. If you think you are an exceptional payroll leader, have a listen to the episode and just find out perhaps gaps in your own experience or the characteristics and key qualities that really do set exceptional leaders apart from the rest. Brilliant episode, very knowledgeable guest on the subject. We've had the end of jobs with Jeff Wald, which really talks about the increased use of automation and technology, and will that lead to the end of certain jobs? And therefore, how will that impact the payroll industry? Have a listen. I think it's absolutely fascinating, and we're talking to a real expert in the field there. We also had our payroll robots going to take over, a similar kind of episode with Mike Walsh, but really focused then on the future technologies that are going to be impacting on jobs and payroll process in particular. There are so many to go through, from networking to global transformations to smart automation, the future of on-demand pay, which is a fascinating episode, killing payday loans through payroll, roboticizing payroll, a human-first approach, policy, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, creating effective global payroll control frameworks. Fascinating episode, that one, with Max van der Klisper-Sink, which really discussed the importance of having effective global payroll control frameworks in place to ensure compliance and to manage risk. Wow, it's so complex in today's world. I think that was an episode that really did highlight the key components of effective global payroll policy and compliance and frameworks like governance, risk management, and how companies can use these frameworks to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your own global payroll operation. So again, if you're someone who's recently found yourself now managing a global payroll rather than just a UK payroll, that is an episode I highly recommend you have a listen to. Now, I think what's clear, or hopefully it's coming across, is not just, I guess, the passion I have for how excited I am for the future of payroll, but also that payroll is and will continue to be shaped by a number of trends and challenges. The use of cloud payroll technology, cryptocurrency, and I'll touch upon that in just a moment, but implementing and maintaining effective global payroll operations, payroll leadership, training, the evolution of the payday experience and the employee experience, and how that impacts things like automation and financial health and well-being, and how companies therefore need to adapt and leverage these technologies, how they need to invest in leadership development. They need to invest in resilient payroll systems that can accommodate the challenges of compliance and the challenges of ensuring they're able to support the new demands that employees are putting upon them so they can attract and retain their top staff. It's so exciting. And we know that the impact of the pandemic has really thrust the importance of trust and financial health into the limelight. And that's where payroll can really, really offer solutions and can help solve problems in relation to employee retention. I talk about it a lot because it's something that I'm very heavily involved in my world of recruitment, because I do think that by improving the payroll experience for employees, businesses can absolutely improve their ability to retain top talent and attract new talent. It's win-win.
Have you ever asked yourself, how can I recruit payroll staff effectively? Please don't give up on your recruitment project just yet. Here at JGA Payroll Recruitment, we appreciate the difficulties associated with attracting, recruiting, and retaining top payroll talent. We also understand just how costly a poor payroll hire can be. JGA Recruitment are a niche payroll recruitment agency who will partner with you to resource payroll candidates who will improve both the accuracy and efficiency of your payroll department. Contact us today on 01727 800 377 or visit jgarecruitment.com to find out more.
If you've got a payroll a stakeholder, a business leader, a CEO, a COO, who you can get to listen to just this episode alone, and you want to put them in touch with me, if you can't get the investment, by all means share my details. They're in the show notes. I'm happy to have a conversation with any C-suite individual who is not yet convinced by the importance of payroll, who is not yet convinced in why they need to invest in payroll operations. And I will have a very frank and open conversation about why it's not just a consideration, it's an absolute necessity if you want to stay competitive in the new world of work. Automation, remote work, global employment, fintech adoption, it means that these trends aren't going away. In fact, they're emerging at an absolutely rapid pace. And who knows what the next cycle of next-gen payments are going to look like. It's highly likely they're going to include the integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's highly likely that, therefore, that payroll professionals are going to need to invest and stay informed in the latest tech and trends that are going to be impacting on that employee experience. And that's going to need buy-in from the C-suite, because if that doesn't happen, C-suites are going to start to experience employee turnover. They're going to start to see their objectives fail, because if you don't have your payroll function working optimally and they're not invested in, actually, many of the broader strategic objectives are going to really struggle to come to fruition. You need everybody on side. And I don't think that's something that I would have said even back in 2018 when I launched this show. That's how quick this shift has started to be. Now, my dream going forward, as I talk today on the 100th episode of the Payroll Podcast, which just brings a smile to my face to say that, is really for it to continue to be a comprehensive resource for all payroll professionals globally who wish to stay informed about the latest developments and the latest trends that are impacting the industry. So as we embark on the next 100 episodes, and as I say, I've got several recorded already, ready to be released, I hope I can continue to cover a wide range of topics from digitization and automation to global payroll transformation, emerging trends, next-gen payments, and more. In fact, I hope there are some subjects I can't even think about now because they haven't yet impacted the space, but are probably not too far away from doing so. What I will know and what I will say, and some of my key takeaways to date from the show have been really helping me to understand, and hopefully those that listen to the show as well, to understand the importance of a human-first approach to payroll, as it has absolutely transitioned from a purely transactional business function to, I would always refer to it when I first started this industry in 2002, to the kind of office that didn't have windows. You know, you'd be sat at the back with very little interaction from the other business functions, just expected to get, to keep people paid, and how that has absolutely changed. Many roles now are blurred between payroll and reward, payroll and benefits, payroll and HR. And I think that's because finally organizations are starting to understand the importance of payroll, the importance of putting employees, which includes engagement, retention, training, well-being, and other needs at the center of their decisions, which means you have to include payroll in that conversation. It absolutely emphasizes, to me anyway, the critical role payroll plays in this realization as organizations start to focus in on putting their employees front and center of their organizational strategies. I also hope that the show will continue to equip you all with the tools you need to succeed in what is a very new and exciting, in my opinion, world of work. That does include the fact that we need to attract new people into the industry. Perhaps you've got a nephew or a niece or someone who's due to graduate, isn't sure what they want to do. Give them this episode. Let them absorb it and listen to it and get to understand what it includes. I mean, to quote Max van der Klis-Besink, who once said to me in the episode that I recorded with him, payroll is the best of finance. It's the best of IT. It's the best of HR. It's, if you want to be numerate, it touches on those skills. If you want to be strategic, it touches on those skills. If you love technology, well, you can code, you can develop, you can do whatever you like. If you want to work globally, payroll offers you those opportunities now. We identified at JJ Recruitment over 60 different payroll career pathways now in the world of payroll. And actually, I think it's grown even since we did that report. So share the episode. Let's get more people into this industry. There are many, many avenues, including the wonderful introduction of the payroll apprenticeship scheme, which I think is a fantastic addition to the world of payroll, allowing people to get qualified at different levels and to really immerse themselves in what is such an exciting industry. But what can payroll managers or companies do then to navigate and adapt to the changing payroll landscape? Well, I had to think about this. I kind of narrowed it down into 9 points. I know probably more, but for the sake of keeping this short, I guess, and there's so much to cover, these are the 9 points that I decided to feature today. The first is invest in technology. One of the most important ways for companies to adapt to the changing payroll landscape is by investing in tech, because it gives, it includes digital payroll solutions, online payroll systems, mobile apps, digital wallets, interactive pay slips, data analytics tools to identify patterns, trends, and areas for improvement. I guess by investing in tech, you can increase efficiency, you can reduce costs, you can improve the strategic importance of payroll. So I've put that number one. These aren't necessarily in order of importance, but that one was the first thing I could really think about that I thought should probably be front and center. Second one we've talked a lot about already, which is improving that employee experience. Companies have to focus on providing a positive and a seamless payroll experience for their employees. And this absolutely includes offering more detailed and transparent pay statements, more flexible payment options. And that can be not just the way that you process benefits, but also the way people are paid. Direct deposit, pay cards, maybe even paying crypto wallets. There's over 300 million people now that have digital wallets. That's something we need to be aware of for the future. We talked a little bit about interactive smart pay slips, which, those things can make the pay process more efficient, more accurate, and they give access to better information for the employee so they can make better decisions financially. They can plan better. They can look at their pay history. They can, plan for their pension contributions and all those kind of things. Knowledge is what empowers employees to make better decisions about their finances. And that's where payroll can have a really, really exciting impact. So improving the payroll experience, employee experience rather, we know also has a massive impact on the retention and attraction of new talent. So that has to be right near the top of this list as well. I think we need to embrace number 3, remote work. The rise of remote and flexible working, companies need to be able to adapt or they're going to struggle to recruit. We've got to make sure, though, the payroll process is robust and compliant to be able to handle a changing pattern of work, changing behaviors of work. And it's probably only going to change more and become more complex with, let's say, the rise of the gig economy, with changing demographics and so on and so forth. So something that's absolutely important. Number 4, I said keep a focus on data security and privacy. Absolutely important. We're only going to see more and more cyber attacks and things like that. So really important that we are doing the things necessary to protect sensitive employee data. Continue to learn, continue to educate yourselves. I had as number 5. It's really important for payroll professionals to stay informed about the latest developments and trends in the industry. And there are many, many, many learning and education and qualification providers out there that can give you a head start in this world. The Payroll Podcast is just one of many resources you can use to make sure you are staying ahead of that curve. I do think you need to embrace digital payments, number 6, maybe not straight away, but the idea of not just digital payments, but on-demand pay as well. It's coming very quickly. Companies now can adopt touchless payroll and digital payments. And I think that on-demand pay and potentially the dissolution of the monthly pay cycle or the traditional pay cycles that we have at the moment, that may well happen in the future because employees are demanding access to on-demand pay. If you don't provide it, they'll go to a company that can. And that's going to mean that boards are going to start to ask you to bring this in so they don't lose their top talent. Continually educate and learn. It's really important that you not just do qualifications, that you do stay up to date with information and make informed decisions, but also, just to reiterate, you need to prioritize the employee experience. That's not just about providing an accurate payroll experience, but also offering more services to them. Find out what your employees need. Do surveys if you need to. Provide more benefits, provide, I guess, a more complex and holistic view on wellness, because payroll has a huge impact on the financial health, wellness of its employees, on the mental health of its employees. It's really, really important. And I think if companies and payroll professionals can really position themselves for success in the future, they're the kind of things that people, I would recommend, start to consider. Because why? Well, from my perspective, I'm really excited about the future for payroll. I think we're okay to be optimistic. I think it's okay to shout from the rooftops now that we work in payroll. I want to get rid of this statement that I fell into payroll. Why do we ever say that? We say we fell into something because we're not quite sure if it's something that people respect yet. We're not sure if we're a little bit embarrassed by what we do. And I understand that. I work in recruitment and I fell into recruitment. I came out of university with a lot of debt. I studied theatre. I found myself in recruitment. I used to tell people I fell into it. And I know why I said it. It's because I wasn't fully convinced. I wasn't fully, I don't know. I thought I was going to be judged. So I'd say I fell into it. It gave me that little excuse as to why I worked in that industry. And I can understand why people say they fell into payroll. It felt like it was a lesser equivalent to finance and HR, perhaps back in the day, but not anymore. I think we need to own the choice now. I think we need to be brave. I think we need to be optimistic. I think we need to say, hey, I work in payroll and I love it. And it's so important. I have an absolute impact on the way that my business is run, on the attraction and retention of our top talent within our business, on the experience of that every single employee has within that business. I'm strategic. I'm at the forefront of tech. I think it's a really, really exciting time to be optimistic, exciting time to put your flag in the sand and say, hey, shout from the rooftops. I work in payroll. I'm proud. It's a really challenging profession. And you know what? I love it. I didn't fall into it. I chose this industry. We always have a choice. Let's hear that more. Let's see that on LinkedIn. Let's see comments going, you know what? I chose payroll. Because it's really, really important. It's really important that we start to own the profession, that we see people wanting to come into payroll as a profession. We know that if we can make it sound and what it is, the future of payroll is exciting, it's dynamic. So let's let other people know about it. It's filled with new tech, it's filled with new trends, it's filled with new opportunities. The increasing automation of payroll processes, the growing importance of data gathering, the board level potential opportunities of the future, the rise of fintech, cryptocurrencies even, we're talking buzzwords now, but the concept of on-demand pay, the growing importance of the employee payroll experience, the shift towards remote work, they're all driving changes in the payroll landscape. They're all reasons that we should be really, really proud that we work in payroll. I mean, hey, payroll recruitment, it's another facet of the world of payroll. I'm very, very proud of the work I do. I have no issue anymore of shouting from the rooftops that I'm a recruiter in the industry of payroll. People say, payroll what? I say, yeah, payroll. You have no idea how exciting this industry is, how fast moving this industry is, how quick this industry is to adapt to new trends, how quickly it is to evolve to new legislation. The attitude of payroll professionals, the dry humor that the industry has because of the challenges that are constantly thrust upon them. I think it's a really, really bright future for payroll. I think it's filled with exciting opportunities and challenges. And I think that's shown by the number of career pathways now available in the industry. But also, you know what? It's also shown by the amount of money that's being invested in this sector. We're talking billions of pounds of seed funding into new startups now that are starting to notice payroll as being a space where, well, a space that's ripe for technological advancement even further. And you only get investment if people are starting to stand up and notice. And I think that's really, really exciting. It's evolving all the time. And with the increased focus on employee centricity and data analytics, I see absolutely no signs of this slowing down. In fact, from a recruitment perspective, we've just experienced our best 2 years ever. And that's because C-suites and hiring managers are starting to understand that they need to hire top payroll professionals because it has a knock-on impact in their organizational success. The better, the more strategic, the more advanced, the more qualified, the more future thinking their payroll department, the better organizations perform. It absolutely has a knock-on effect on their bottom line. We're seeing it in the world of recruitment. And as the world continues to change, it's very, very clear to me the payroll landscape is going to continue to change with it. So it's a super exciting time to be in the field. Huge career range of opportunities available. We're talking payroll data analytics roles now, remote working opportunities, implementation opportunities, project management opportunities, sales opportunities. So with the right skills and mindset, I think payroll professionals really can look towards a very, very, very bright future. And I think that's really, really exciting. No longer are payroll professionals, in my opinion, just number crunchers. You know, we've got to get rid of this fell into tag. You're now influencers, you're decision makers, you're users of data in very intelligent ways. And I think that's exciting. I think we can get rid of that wages clerk tag once and for all and really start to get the recognition that we all deserve. And I may not be a payroll professional like you are listening to this, but we all deserve as an industry, which is as a valuable strategic partner to an organization. We're going to need strong leadership to get it to where we need it to get to. But I know from my world of payroll recruitment here that we've got some really strong leaders in this industry. And now's the time to show that skill. Now's the time to open up new career pathways for others as well. Now's the time to encourage the people that we know in our lives, nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, friends of friends who aren't quite sure what they want to do when they leave university or when they leave school, and say, you know what? Come into payroll. Come in. You can be an implementation consultant. You can be a change management professional. You can go into project management. You can be a payroll manager. You know, these opportunities are available to you now. What do you love to do? Oh, I love numbers. Come into payroll. I love tech. Come into payroll. I love strategy. Come into payroll. You know, payroll directorships now are starting to come available, and that's because as much as software and systems are starting to infiltrate the payroll process, we still need people that can contextualize that data. We still need people that can advise boards with an incisive understanding of how payroll data can support organizational goals. We need people that understand at director level how this technology works and how we can leverage it for maximum organizational value. Because this pace of change is not slowing down in its level of intensity. We're going to see skill gaps appear if we don't really upskill ourselves. But what we do know is the elevating demand for better systems is not going anywhere else. And I think that's really, really good news for the payroll profession. Now, it was a couple of years ago now, but the World Economic Forum actually released an article in 2020 that said that advances in automation and AI, which are two huge impacts in the world of payroll, would displace about 85 million jobs. However, they also said it would likely create 97 million new ones by 2025. I mean, that's a net increase of 12 million jobs in two areas that are absolutely being impacted significantly in the world of payroll, which is automation and AI. So again, I think that's really, really exciting. The pandemic proved that the largest payroll home working experiment of all time worked. It proved payroll professionals can deliver results from remote locations. It proved that payroll people can pay people across borders, across remote locations. It advanced process-led transactional activities. It advanced the adoption of new technologies. It advanced the evolution of AI and analytics and remote working capabilities. And all of this is just opening up pathway for the world of payroll. It's so exciting. I had a recent episode which was talking about the rise in the world of customer success in payroll. If you haven't heard it yet, go back and have a listen to that episode. Fascinating. 10 years ago, the idea of a customer success professional working in payroll didn't exist. It's a brand new title to the industry. And now we're seeing loads and loads of payroll providers having customer success experts working in the world of payroll. There's just one title of many that I think is really exciting and just shows the evolution of the payroll operation now to show just how exciting it could be, because payroll's beginning to find its feet. It's finding its feet at C-suite level. It's finding its feet at a technological level. And it's representing a massive shift in the appreciation for the sector from those that perhaps didn't appreciate it in the past. I mean, European and payroll HCM markets at the moment are estimated to be valued at over 25 billion. And we know, the world tells us this, that where there is profit, there is opportunity. We're seeing SMEs and enterprise-level providers looking to sell solutions related to payroll. That could be about cloud management, data security, global complexity, efficiency, so many other areas. So we're seeing new providers come to the market offering new solutions, which is going to open up more opportunities for the world of payroll sales, payroll business development, payroll customer success, which I just mentioned. And the pathways continue to come. Oh, it's just so exciting. I did try and think about some of the key takeaways, that I've discovered personally during my 99 episodes that I've recorded today. And this was pretty hard. I narrowed it down to 25, which kind of there's not ultimately, in my opinion, across 99 episodes, there are 99 key takeaways. And I absolutely do believe that. I think if you're in the world of payroll and you are new to this show, you should try and listen to every single one. And maybe you've never processed Canadian payroll, so you feel that episode isn't relevant for you, but who knows what the future holds? And I would always say, be armed with the information. So when change happens, you're already prepared. Who knows what the future holds, and it can only advance your knowledge. So I would say listen to every single one. I really do mean that. But these are the 25 key takeaways that I've discovered during the 99 episodes I've recorded to date. One is automation of payroll processes is increasing. It allows payroll professionals to focus on more strategic tasks and improve efficiency. Companies we know are continuing to invest in payroll technologies. And in fact, I mentioned it's a £25 billion industry, but on-demand pay in particular is an area that companies are investing in probably more than any other area at the moment, or so that's what I'm seeing, because it helps employers manage earned wage access requests. It means that it could result in our traditional pay cycle being dissolved. It may not be here when I've recorded the next 100 episodes. In fact, I would predict now on this episode, you heard it here first, that by the time I record the 200th episode, that I think the traditional pay cycle as we know it quite possibly will no longer be in play. I think with more providers investing in on-demand pay solutions and with the world now focused on the employee experience, both for attraction and retention purposes, I can only see the adoption of on-demand pay increasing. And I don't think traditional pay cycles as we know them now will still be in play by the time that I record the 200th episode of the Payroll Podcast. There you go. Heard it here first. Let's see if I'm right. Third, I had the employee payroll experience becoming more important as companies continue to attract and strive to attract and retain top talent. We also know remote work is shaping the future of payroll as companies move to hybrid or even fully remote models. Number 4, payroll professionals should stay informed about these latest trends, and the Payroll Podcast is the perfect place to make sure that happens. It gives you the opportunity to position yourself for success in the future. Number 5, continuing education and professional development, absolutely essential for payroll professionals to stay ahead of the curve. The shift towards remote work is number 6, which has increased the importance of secure data transfer, cloud-based payroll systems, and just the ability to look after your workforce that are demanding it. Number 7, the role of AI and machine learning in payroll. It's growing. It's helping improve accuracy and efficiency. It's here to stay. We're only going to see more of it. Those may be familiar with ChatGPT and other AI platforms hitting the market. This is a space that is being populated daily with new tools and solutions hitting the market. So watch this space. Number 8, more and more career pathways available in payroll now than ever before, across global analytics, tech, and more, sales, I mentioned as well, tutoring even. So lots of opportunities for payroll careers. I've got number 9, the integration of AI and machine learning and payroll processes to be more prevalent. It's going to provide new opportunities for automation, for data analysis, for process optimization, and more. Number 10, cloud-based payroll systems are going to continue to gain popularity because they provide increased flexibility, scalability, security, particularly for those with remote payroll operations. Number 11, smart interactive pay slips. They're going to make the pay process more efficient and accurate. They're also giving workers access to better information and resources. 12, the use of cryptocurrency for payroll employees. Well, I think that's going to be more prevalent. There's 300 million people out there with digital wallets. There are still challenges to be overcome in the world of crypto, but I think you're going to see more and more crypto solutions hitting and infiltrating the payroll marketplace. 13, the ability to deliver global payroll services. Increasingly important. It's much easier now to hire global employees, and we see that in the world of recruitment. The use of self-service portals and other tools are going to be more prevalent because employees want access to their pay and benefits information. Simple as that. 15, companies increasingly focus on creating positive payroll experiences for their employees. Critical, we've talked about that a lot today. Compliance with changing payroll legislation is number 16. It's going to be more critical. It's going to require more payroll professionals to stay up to date on changing laws and regulations. 17, the importance of cybersecurity and data privacy in payroll operations. Well, it's going to be more critical than ever because ransomware attacks, cyber attacks, things like that are only increasing every single day. And therefore, they're getting very, very smart as well. So we need to be right on top of our cybersecurity measures to make sure that we're keeping data protected. 18, I mentioned it a moment ago, the adoption of pay on demand. That model, it's going to increase. It's going to require payroll professionals to adapt to new processes. There's a lot of skepticism around on-demand pay, but it's here to stay. It's gaining traction. If it helps improve financial well-being and reduces stresses for employees, it's going to stay. It's going to stay. So keep an eye on that. Number 19, just embrace change. Welcome in the future of payroll. The line between global payroll and HR is starting to blur. Let's welcome it. Let's welcome the change. Let's own the choice. Let's no longer say we fell into payroll. Let's shout it from the rooftops. Great career. It's exciting. The future of payroll is exciting. It's number 19. Number 20, the future of work will demand strong leadership and vision. It's going to need transferable skills. It's going to be essential for bridging the gap between roles, bridging the gap between HR, bridging the gap between reward and so on. I also think number 21, payroll professionals should focus on developing their leadership skills as a result, because the successful future payroll manager will be one who can manage not just people, but machines. We're no longer in a world of command and control. We're in a world of coaching cultures. And I think that's really important if we want to leverage the best out of our employees and the best of our people. 22, companies need to focus on building resilience in their payroll processes, because that will allow them to adapt to unexpected changes, such as those caused by the pandemic, where, quite frankly, the whole industry globally were able to respond to new legislation that had never, ever been seen before in a heartbeat. I don't want to mention that dreaded word furlough, but we all know the challenges that the furlough legislation caused on payroll departments up and down the country here, and actually just how well the payroll industry adapted to that changing legislation in a heartbeat as well. And kudos to every single one of you that managed to keep your employees paid during that time. 23, just that automation is not going to replace the payroll professional. It's just the tasks that will be replaced. The role's evolving, so be aware of that. 24, therefore, then, are skills. Skills are the currency of the future. Employers need to take action that will enable them to prepare for the future of automation, analytics, and AI. Have a think about what you might be able to do to upskill yourself in this world. And last but not least, the role of payroll professionals is absolutely shifting towards more strategic roles, providing insights and analysis to business leaders that have an absolute impact on organizational success. It's number 25. Now, I've always, and those have read my work, the content I provide, I've always likened the payroll professional to that of a chameleon. I know Diane Hoodless has often shared the comments and the articles I've written, so thank you, Diane, for doing that. But I think she shares my view. But the payroll community has always adapted. It's always evolved, no matter the pace, no matter the scope, no matter the level of change that's seen before it. And I think it has started to shake off its out-of-date number punching big red button wages clerk tag. And we all have a laugh about the big red button. But actually, I don't know how many people now think that's what payroll is about. I think we've probably shed that tag a little bit. There are people out there that say, well, that's probably what we want to achieve in the long term. Why should we be scared of a big red button? Maybe that is the future. If we can get a big red button to process payroll, isn't that what we all want? Because that will free up all of our time to focus on that analysis, that strategic value we can bring. Maybe we should start embracing it. I don't know. Maybe it's too sensitive to mention too soon. I'll leave it out there. I'll leave it hanging. What I do think is we've shed our traditional transactional camouflage here, as a comedian would, and we're putting payroll now at the epicenter of employee engagement, the epicenter of data management, the epicenter of technology, of OPEX efficiency and compliance. We've got over 60 payroll career pathways. And in fact, I've set myself a challenge to come up with 100 different career pathways. So have a look out for that article. It'll be coming out soon, because I think there's now over 100. That's 40 new ones since we even did that research only 6 months ago. That should give you some insight as to how quickly this profession is evolving. And it's really important we stay ahead of the curve. That's what the Payroll Podcast is going to try and do. And there's one takeaway you can take from all the notes I've provided, is that skills are going to be the currency of the future. We've got to be able to adapt to this rapidly changing payroll landscape. It's not replacing the payroll professional. Absolutely not. What it's doing is it's replacing the traditional or mundane tasks to allow you to be more strategic in the future. If you can define your why, and we're going into deeper stuff here, but define your why. What is it you want to achieve in your payroll career journey? What are the relevant skills, qualifications, knowledge certifications, training, learning, development plans, networks even, that you need to get you and to allow you and to help you to achieve that career why? Have a think about that. I hope the Payroll Podcast over the previous 100 episodes and over the next 100 episodes will play a part in that why definition for you. I really, really do. And I'm really excited by the episodes we've got to come. I'm really excited that I've had over 80,000 people listen to the show. That's huge across borders in the US and the UK. It's no longer transactional. It's really, really exciting. I mentioned earlier, actually, while I've got you listening for the moment, I'm conscious of time, but I know that we talked a little bit about blockchain earlier, and just to bring it up to speed, because we did a fascinating episode with Anita Letting on blockchain and the future of payroll. But actually, going against what I thought was going to happen, what we've actually discovered is blockchain so far has not been a great business application for payroll. It hasn't been outperforming existing solutions. But where it did catch on was in distributing the output of payroll. So we're talking about particularly in the area of cross-border payments. Paying people in different countries usually means delays, quite high costs. It can disadvantage the employee. But by using cryptocurrencies, by using digital wallets where people can receive pay the same day, actually there is still a future for blockchain. There's still a future for crypto. But it probably isn't in the way that episode discussed at the time. And I'm really fascinated to see just how that starts to unfold in the future, because I said 300 million people own a crypto wallet. So I do think that's a space that we need to keep an eye on as well. Look, Payroll Professional, let's conclude. It's come a long way from its humble beginnings as a transactional process. It's now a strategic function. It plays a vital role in the success of any business that values it. And as the world of work continues to change, the payroll profession is going to evolve and continue to evolve as well. The pandemic thrust it in the limelight, and you absolutely came out with flying colours, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We're seeing lots of further shifts now, shifts in income streams, shifts in the gig economy, which continues to put the employee at the centre of payroll, the centre of pay. It's going to bring new challenges to you all, but I think it's a challenge that's exciting. Maybe there's a philosophical challenge in there, which maybe involves a change in payroll thinking. Is the pay slip the end of the payroll process, or is it just the start of the process? Is it really the start that gives that employee the power to know how they're going to manage their finances for better financial health, wealth, and engagement? I'll leave that out there for you guys to consider and to think about. What we do know is that payroll is at the epicenter of the financial journey for employees. And that's why it's absolutely essential that payroll professionals and technologies continue to support to help employees take positive control of their financial well-being. I can liken it to the world of recruitment. My role doesn't end when I make a placement. It used to. It doesn't anymore. It ends once the candidate we place has been fully onboarded, has passed probation. We don't just want to place great payroll candidates here at JJ Recruitment. We want to ensure that clients who invest in our services are able to successfully retain that talent, because that's when the value comes in. That's where you get return on investment. We want to make sure that every placement we make meets the expectations of the candidate and the client, because that way the recruitment process impacts lives and financial security. And I think the payroll cycle in that regard is very, very similar. So I want to give my huge appreciation to all of you who have listened or downloaded the show in the past. There's over 80,000 of you that have done so across the globe. Thank you. It's very, very humbling for me. I have gained so much from the experience. I hope you as listeners too have learned a lot and you've grown in your field over the course of this podcast. My dream is for the Payroll Podcast to become a comprehensive resource for all of you out there that want to stay informed about the latest developments and trends in the industry. So then, as I embark on the next 100 episodes, I will continue to try and endeavour to cover as wider and as a broader range of topics as possible. If you have anything you want covered, email me, send it in. Perhaps you want to be a guest on the show, you've got a story to tell, let me know, because I really do want the show to equip you all with the tools you need to succeed in this new and very exciting world of work. I also want it to attract new people into the industry so we can start to build the next generation of payroll leaders. Perhaps that is you listening to this right now. If you're adapting to this ever-changing landscape, then it probably is. Get in touch with me. Let's talk about the future of payroll together. Payroll is an interesting beast. More than anything, it's about trust. It's about accuracy. It's about security. It's about reliability. It's about employee engagement. It's about financial wellness. It's about all of those things. If you've got a story to tell, do get in touch. Please, my last request is this. If you haven't done this yet, and there's 80,000 of you out there, and I don't have 80,000 reviews, if you have a moment, please do review the show on Apple Podcasts in particular would be great, or on Google or any other, whatever your payroll platform is, your preferred payroll platform, please take a moment to review the show. But even more importantly than that, please try and share it with all of your payroll colleagues and friends. I am sure with 100 episodes now recorded, there'll be one episode in there that they will be able to resonate with, that they will find interesting, that will help them in their payroll journey. And I can't do it on my own. I need all of you to shout from the rooftops that you're proud of being in payroll, that they should listen to this show, that they will help them on their payroll journeys. And together, that's me, that's all of you out there, we can really, really help raise the profile of payroll for future generations. So from a very humble Nick Day here, saying thank you to all of you for being a trusted subscriber and listener to the show. Thank you for bearing with me for over an hour today to talk about all the content and things that we've discovered during this journey. I look forward to bringing you the next 100 episodes, and I want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you for being the payroll person that you are, for coming into this industry, for making it as exciting as it continues to be. Thank you ever so much. I look forward to bringing you the 101st episode of the Payroll Podcast very, very soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. All the best.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Payroll Podcast with Nick Day of JGA Recruitment. If you need help with a current payroll vacancy, then please get in touch with Nick and his team. All contact details can be found in the episode notes. In the meantime, to make sure you never miss a future episode, please subscribe to the show through any of your favorite podcast channels. Till next time.